Hello everybody, welcome to another third-party review. In today's video I've managed to get a hold of the X-transbots upgrade kit as well as the trailer for their Motormaster. And we're going to just take a look at everything and see whether it's worth paying that extra money to get that upgrade set. As it stands, as basic vehicles and basic bots, X-transbots was the cheapest. If you want to display these in their robot modes, there is no one anywhere near as cheap as the X-transbots, especially if you got the first releases. Some of these were crazy cheap when they were first released. But if we then want to build Menasor, we have to buy that trailer. The trailer is the majority of that cost. It's the price of a figure and a bit. I mean, it is an expensive trailer. Got it in hand. It's very robust. It's incredibly solid. So we would add that to the value, put that in there, and then we've got kind of something pretty much on par with the DX9 pricing. And then we get that upgrade kit, which is being sold separately. But obviously that's then going to add additional cost as well, making it more expensive than the DX9, but still probably cheaper than what we're going to get from a completed Fans Toys one, but only just. Now it's whether the accessory kit is worth it. I know a lot of people that have ordered both and are happy to pay that for both, but there is a lot of people that are unhappy to pay the extra for the kits. Now the kit itself comes in a two-tier clamshell system. You get all of the adapter brackets included. The top tier is the G1 style guns and the Menasor heads. We've got an IDW style head, a secondary IDW style head, and we've got two kind of more G1 accurate expressions. We've got the remote control that Megatron uses, and flipping that over we also get a baggie filled with additional faces. I believe they are all for a Motormaster. And on the second tier we get the shells that bulk up the vehicles. Now, in my opinion, the vehicles actually look okay on Menasor when he's combined, but again, I'll show you a side by side with and without the kit. But these literally just tab on to our arm bots, and that kind of just bulks it out. So really, having messed around with this already, if you're happy with the initial sculpt that we're going to get with the Motormaster trailer and the Menasor head, the only real value from this, yes, this will bulk it up slightly, but it does look nice as it is. It's more for those that have decided to opt for the toy versions of these molds that these really kind of come into play. They look okay on these, but I think these are definitely more designed for those toy accurate models. Now we'll look at the Menasor faces when we get him transformed up, but the remote does look really nice. These guns do look really retro and they tick a lot of boxes, but I don't think they look right with these vehicles. You know, it's definitely more designed to go with the classic kind of variation of them. I mean, these are okay, and yes, I am missing my spoiler for him. I've placed it somewhere, it fell off, and I don't know what I've done with it. But I mean, they look good, but they would look much better on the toy style designs. Now the trailer itself is ruddy, solid as a rock. It is a beast, and it fits on nicely. We still get that pivoting effect where that can rotate. We can still use the front of Motormaster's wheels as well to rotate it. It's a really good length, very comparable to the MP10 trailer, if not a little bit fatter. But that being said, DX9's trailer was kind of disproportionate and looked a little off. It looked more like a kind of a 60-foot trailer as opposed to a 40-foot. Width-wise, it doesn't look too bad. Ideally, I'd want that to be about the same sort of width as the cab, but that's not the be all and end all. I don't imagine many people are going to be buying this trailer just to display it, but it does have that same sort of connection that we get on the MP10 and it just tabs in on the underside of MotorMaster like so. It's on a double hinged system, and it literally just tabs in remarkably well. Very nice indeed. This isn't the only accessory that comes with the pack. We get a bagged up sword, which comes folded in half. That will fully extend, and that's a really nice sword. We do get an additional face sculpt for Menasor, so it's not necessary to buy all of that big upgrade to get the additional face sculpt, although I really do feel that the MotorMaster face sculpts should have been included in this kit. But like I said earlier, if you just want the figures and you want to buy the upgrade kit to kind of just change the figures up, then that's always an option. But personally, as the trailer's kind of part of MotorMaster, I think they really should have been included in that set. And then we have this really large rifle piece as well. But this really reminds me of the Toy World Constructor kind of plastic quality on these. Really nice solid chunk of plastic. Now we do have access just at the front here. If we open up these front panels, you can bring down the hydraulic legs and they just come down. That will hold everything up and keep everything balanced. Those curious as where to store the sword, it actually just slides in. There's a groove on the underside here. You have to slide that up into this piece here, and that just clips on like so. So if you do decide to store it like this, there are definitely options to keep everything stored away. And yes, it's a bit snug. Well, we can get the car in, sort of. Just need to, my hands are mistransformed on the inside. Bear with me. There we go. And it does slide in. There we go. So we can actually store him in the back there if we choose to. Can't say I'm ever going to do that. Right, for base mode, we're going to pull these down, and these little slots are going to wiggle down. These lock in to that secondary latch. This section here just hinges upwards and sits back, so it's now acting as kind of a secondary support. And these wheels, they've basically just come down and they're sat behind, like so. You want to just bring them out, slide them up and leave them like that. These are the three levels that act as the support for the base mode. With these circle fans over on this side, you want to bring these clasps upwards towards them like this. Come around and flip that back panel down again. These are going to come up and fold up like gull wing doors. As looking at the top of them there, they're going to come up and separate. They untab from here first and then untab from each other. Where we've unfolded this piece here should now lift up and lift up. There we go, and there we go. Just tabbed in really firmly at the top on these panels. These side panels pull down. They're on a hinge. You just want to pull them down on either side, and pulling these sections apart, they just come untabbed on both sides, splitting along this kind of seam section here. This whole back panel piece just kind of unfolds and spreads out, and it does say on the PDF that I've got that pay attention to this buckle section. Make sure it's at this angle so it's in there safely when it's tucked on the inside here. And the idea is to straighten up the hand, bring that up and over to this side. This under panel piece is going to fold. This folds down, pushes around and tabbed in just on here. This is then going to close off. It's all kind of really tidying up as we go. Just need to do that tidying with both sides. The Menasor head is on a swinging hinge. That's going to up and rotate and comes up out of the way. This outer piece here is going to flip down like so and slightly slide within this void. So we've got this groove and yellow section all facing upwards. We then bring the head back down to this piece here. This is going to flip around 180 degrees, rotating around like so. So we're left with the head facing upwards, and this now completely reversed. The head rotates one way and one way only to face downwards, like so. This piece then comes back in, and then with that in, the head is going to rotate around to the underside, like so. So that tucks right out of the way, and just clamps in like this. This is going to come around like so. This is going to bend. This comes down like this. This is going to come back round and fold. These panels here extend. Like so. And rotate around like this. That comes out. Those extend like so. Those are going to form the platforms. This all forms the platform as well. This just needs to extend on these double hinges. This hinges back, and this piece here actually has a separate piece underneath like this. Just adjust these panels. This piece is going to come around and just hinge off, and just adjust everything so it's all sitting as it should. Make sure these rear supports are in place, and this is all tabbed in. And I believe that's it for base mode. I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. I've kind of gone what I can see on the instructions. I may have done these panels here wrong, but all in all, it's just kind of unfolded, isn't it? It's not the most elaborate of base modes, but I guess it works. It does what it needs to. We can unfold this panel here at the top, and we can slide the gun in between those two sections. These double up as rocket thrusters as well. If we decide to buy the accessory pack, we can plug those guns in there. If not, you can use the standard guns that come with our figures. They plug into these ports as well. So options are definitely there. I like the playability. It doesn't hold up as nicely as I'd like, but it may be because I've got a very, very slippery surface here. So it's those rear legs that do kind of keep slipping. These bits all here, they all support nicely. These support nicely as well. The head has a nice clearance, and it's okay. It's a good homage to the original toy, but personally, base modes on combiner figures like these is not really for me. I know Scramble City did it, didn't they? But no, it's not my cup of tea. If you take a look here, we've got some clasps that we need to open. There's one here. Open that one. Open that one. Open this one. Like so. And open this one. Like so. There's these ones here. They're going to come up and over as well. And these clasps here, which hold all of this section out, they're going to untab as well. Make sure these ones here are untabbed. And they spin all the way, it says, should come all the way up, so they're facing upwards like so. So again, on this side, bring that all the way around so it's facing upwards. These pieces here, they are going to come untabbed from here. You can then open up this arm a bit further and just slide that panel down. Make sure you flip these panels around so they're smooth side up. So again, with this one, that's going to flip around, and the head is going to come up with it. Out of the way, there's these tabs just here. So flip down, and that one flips down into that void, and they're going to be stored on the underside. Come to the rear of the truck. These bits here are going to push and fold in nicely behind, and you have these side panels here underneath. These are going to flip 180 degrees along the side, so it rotates around like so, around like so. So they're now sitting at the side of that trailer. You can then untab those wheels again where they were tabbed in prior, and those are going to open, slide and compress. Again on this side, so just untab, open, slide, compress, and just come to the underside here. This piece is going to be stored underneath like so. The wheels then flip through the void like so. Make sure that this piece here is moved to here so it's flat. This then comes down. This is going to rotate and come around to the front. And now that we've passed those through, we can then bring this piece out like so, and then bring this piece back down like this. They need to be out in robot mode. These little pieces are going to fold in and down. Do that on both sides, and these little buckle pieces come out here, freeing up this hind section. Split the top piece like so, bring that up, open up these back panels, open up the back panel. You want to put these hydraulic pieces back in, so just push those back to as they were and bring that in like so, and then flip that up. Again on this side, compress and flip that up like this. This untabs all of the way, and this piece here comes upwards like this. Bring this piece up, bring this piece out, this piece here and this piece here are going to come up. This comes up like so, this comes up like so, and this piece here comes up. Have this panel piece here that flips around on the foot, and we just need to fasten these leg clips and bring this leg up, and this is going to line up with the clips and push and tab and secure in. Now to fix up these legs, we want to fold these panels inwards. I believe this one's going to fold down on that double hinge. This piece folds backwards. Again, this one comes around, folds down on that double hinge. They're going to secure together, and this one folds backwards. Just push and tab those in, and then wrap these leg panels around like so. This is then going to come in, and if we look here, these should, he says, line up with the tabs on the leg. With them tabbed in, you can bring these kind of wheels outwards. That's where the cars are going to slide into those voids, and we're going to bring the feet around and they're going to sit at the top. That's basically the kind of lower body done. Now we've got to rotate this entire lower section 180 degrees. Let's bring those feet around and around. There's a panel here. It's going to come up, and there's a hip skirt piece just in here as well. That's going to come up, and these all form the hip skirts. To do that on both sides, bring this panel here upwards. Come around to this top piece. This is going to flip up. There's this peg here. It's going to come up like so, and that peg that we just brought around, that's going to line up. That's going to push into that hole like so. This piece needs to rotate around because you need this circle piece with the hole in. That's going to come down, push and secure into position. I'm going to fold this back arm piece in. This is going to come up. Right, we have this section here. It's going to come in, and you can see we've got this tab here that needs to click into position, and this will line up and lock in. And then we have this panel here. If you look, this is going to flip and rotate, and there's this groove just on the inside here. Rotate this around, make sure this is tabbed in square. sure this is in square like so, and then this one is on a double hinge. That's going to come down, and that's going to push and line up perfectly along this groove. This piece here is going to come undone, making sure that the arm is clear. This comes down and around, this comes up, and that's going to lock into this tab here, and then this comes under like this. That's going to slide into the chest. This is where everything starts to come together. You want to just bring these wheels out, bring these tabs in, and remember those locking tabs that we did earlier on? I want to just unlock it slightly so that it's facing down. That then pushes in, secures, and then rotate that around, locking that position into place. The head comes up, and there's a hinge here that's going to push, and you want to tab that in on these tabs just here. You have these panels over the shoulders. You want to just fold that one back down. So we've got access to this panel here. This is going to slide, and it allows this piece to come out, which is going to form the shoulder pads. And the idea is to be able to get this, now that it's all the way open, this here should flip out here. This should lift up like so. Clear that. And push. Clearing that section, and then just relock the side latch. These pieces here should be able to flip around and flip around like so. And we're now going to bring the torso piece together. There's this fat peg that goes through here. This is the one we need to hold when turning the lumbar joint. Just from this angle, you see this piece here? This is what locks this upper torso piece in. So you want to keep that pushed and held so that these can then come down. And this is going to push and lock in on these tabs here. Let's just push and latch those in. I think, there we go, we are up to the right angle, I think. And then these pieces that we'd hidden underneath, those are going to come down. You can see there's these locating tabs along the side here. I'm going to try and do that off camera, but what we're going to do, we're going to bend the torso and they're going to tab in on there. There we have him as the shell to add all of our bots onto. It's actually quite nice. Transformation is complex. When it's together, it really does look insanely good. Probably overly complex though, but it's X-transbots and we know that we're going to go from both modes. There's going to be a fun journey in between, but the overall result is going to look the part well, and truly going to start adding all of his limbs on, and then we're going to see how he looks with just the standard limbs, and then how he looks with the accessory kit on, and then we'll compare him to the DX9 equivalent. He looks good. I mean, this is a great piece to have on display. I have already had all this combined up once before, and he does look good. Personally, I think he looks better with the shells, but that's that extra cost in there. I'm going to let you, the audience, be the judge. Back of the legs are pretty easy. You line these up with the right ones. You know they're the right ones because they've got the same wheel design on. And basically, you're going to line these up, and these just basically peg in to the holes on the wheels. It's pretty darn effective when they're in. I mean, you have to get them all in. That's probably the most difficult bit, getting them all lined up, but when they are in, the joint is probably stronger than the car. We can then bring in our arms. It's just going to uncouple. There we go, and pop that back in. So you've got your two parts to the car. We've got a circle tab on the underside here, and this clasp here. So this one's spring loaded. So let's see if we can get that one and slot that one in. And these clasps here are gonna attach and lock in, and then this comes over. And as this comes in, there's a tab just on the back of this which tabs back in to that torso, holding everything nicely into position. And that's one arm done. Same with drag strip. You want to separate the car from this back section. This is going to lift up like so. And again, there's a button just underneath. Push that button. Come on, off we come. Split that, split that. Come on, there we go. That then splits. We can then do this piece back up. Do this piece like so. This comes in, and using that hole again, that's going to tab in, and these are going to tab in to the back. Like so, and just firmly lock and locate in. Tab that into the base section first, so that locks in, and then these little guys here are spring loaded, so you just push and secure those in on both sides, and then just bring the arm down. And MotorMaster, you just want to untab these bits at the back here, fold them back round so they tuck in behind the wheels, and coming to the underside we've got this little hidden panel that I never even knew about, which is attached to these bits here. You basically push on these and push them backwards like that, and that allows this piece here to rock backwards, and this is going to basically slide into the back of Menasor this way up. There we go. I just needed to give that a little bit of a nudge to get that in there. Let's knock the head joint off now. These then open up, and there's two tabs just underneath here. They tab in to hold that leg section here into position. And here we have him fully combined up. The MotorMaster is definitely more beneficial on this than it is on the DX9. It really helps kind of balance that torso. Now, honest opinion, do we really need the shells on those arms? I think the arms actually look quite bulky as they are. They actually do work. The connections on the back of the legs, they're firm, but I'm having trouble with my breakdown, so that doesn't quite tab in as nicely as I would have liked. But he's a big, solid figure. Without comparing him directly to the X9 one, he does instantly feel shorter, but I will get them all up for a size comparison. But I don't know, I like how he looks. It's a good sculpt on there as we start, but does the upgrade kit make a difference? And here we have him with the shells on the arms. Don't get me wrong, it really does kind of bulk out those arms and makes them look absolutely massive. I do like especially how drag strip now towers over those shoulder joints. It looks okay. It does, but now it kind of then makes the cars on the back of the legs look a bit small. But then again, in the cartoon, they did look really small on the back of his legs. So I think there's lots of different options there. I think looking at the way that this trailer is built, there's these two latches on the front of the shins. That possibly implies to me that they intend to be able to connect the vehicles to the front as well. Assuming that's if you want to go for the toy look, that could definitely work. I'd like to see if that is possible. I don't have any of the toy versions, so I'm unsure. I am really sorry that the light is so low, but this is a really kind of bulky figure and I've had to kind of pan right back. But yeah, I think comparing the two, the arms definitely look much bulkier, don't they? But is it kind of $70 bulky? I don't know. I actually really like how it looks, but it looked nice without them as well. It looked very kind of proportionate. So it depends what kind of look you're going for. I love the way he can just kind of pose there. Definitely more accurate, I think, to his screen representation than the DX9 equivalent. Obviously we can extend his gun out as well, and that can go in his hand. It doesn't have any problems holding anything up. Joints are nice and tight. I was kind of expecting the torso to be looser due to all of those tabs that fold and click, but it isn't. The only bit that really feels loose at all is that neck clasp on the top, but even then that's when I'm forcibly moving that head around and trying to push it into poses not necessarily designed to do. So overall, genuinely very impressed. Now, big difference in scale here. Well, not scale, really, just in size. Still looks really good alongside Masterpiece Megatron, albeit that's the infinite transformation version, but he is definitely shorter than his DX9 compadre. I don't know, maybe it's just the legs are a bit shorter, the feet are obviously narrower, but that being said, he really looks good, doesn't he? Really does look the part. So I just realised I haven't folded out the outside of his feet. There's some small sections that we can fold out to give him a sturdier balance. They do kind of extend from the side. I'll do that shortly. I think he looks more cartoon accurate than the DX9 one, but DX9's is still kind of a clean, I mean almost too clean look for Menasor, and his colours do look kind of fleshed out a little bit, I guess, don't they? I like it. It's a good solid figure. It depends what you want from your Menasor. If you already have the DX9 one, is it worth now selling up and going over? I don't know. I really don't know. X-transbots, like I mentioned earlier on, still remains the cheapest standalone set for the 5 figures. But obviously if you then add the trailer and you then add the kit, then it does come up to being more expensive. It's all up to the user. Right, take a look at the articulation. The head can rotate left and right. It does tend to come unpegged from that neck joint though when I tilt it right back. But there is up and down motion on that head. These are very kind of fragile, so be really careful with these. I've got some batteries to put in the head, which allows it to light up. Shoulder can come up and down. Butterfly joint comes in and out like so. Love that. All ratcheted. This rotates on a double jointed bend, so you can bring that all the way up. Fully articulated hands. I've got the arm laser coming out there, so he's shooting blasters from underneath there. We do have rotation on the waist as well as an ab crunch, but I don't really want to mess around with that because I don't know if I've got that truck section in properly. Hip skirts come up to the front, side and back, allowing for full range of motion. Legs can come forwards, backwards, out to the side. Really would have liked a ratcheted joint going forwards, but we do have a thigh rotation and we get a bend on that knee, and we get a knee rotation as well, and then we get some pivot on those feet and some up and down motion. See, I just undone those toes. I lifted these sections up, they slide, and then these just unfold. It gives him much better balance on his feet. It's just those thighs. Really wish there was a ratchet in there, because that is probably the loosest of all the joints. Place the batteries in the back of his head like so. Push that. Tab back in, bring the head around, and there he is with his menacing Menasor eyes. This is the standard head sculpt that you get with him. The secondary sculpt that comes with him is a much kind of angrier face. We get two of these kind of IDW style heads as well, which actually really look different and nice. The angry one for that is really quite effective, and then we get two kind of standard sculpts as well. Again, both very good animation accuracy. This just pop out. Now let's put one of those. I won't push it all the way in, but really kind of liking those IDW style kind of sculpts. Really like that one. I'm not going to push it all the way in, otherwise it'll get stuck again. Right, let's bring in that kind of very natural mouth one, very human-esque, and push and tab. There we go. That is a really good animation accurate vibe. To finish off, we just need to have a look at the last few accessories. Those are these additional face sculpts. Something, like I said, I really think should have been included with the trailer. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're nice sculpts and all, really reminiscent of his animation counterpart. But I suppose it's, if you just bought the figures and one of them displayed in their robot modes, and then you buy the set, then you get all of those different accessories and all the different head sculpts, then maybe you could sell it on to somebody who doesn't necessarily want the head sculpts, and you can kind of switch and go in on it together. I think I would have liked it all to be like a one big set really, but they have their reasons, and I mean, the overall effect is a really gorgeous looking Menasor, isn't it? I mean, even the gun with the little laser section there on the end, very in keeping with what we get with the official Masterpiece figures. So it's a good looking piece, a little bit smaller than I was expecting, but that doesn't necessarily make it a bad figure by any means. My only real concern after having this figure for a few days and playing around with it is those thighs. There's a lot of weight on the top of that torso, and those thighs, the forwards, the thighs really should be ratcheted around here. That whole section should be ratcheted really, but it isn't. It's friction. Maybe a little bit of screwdriver or a little bit of a kiki in there would really kind of stiffen that up. That's my only real concern for this set. Everything else holds together nicely, but this is the area of my concern. Right, and there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all had a good Christmas. Hope this has kind of answered a few questions for anybody looking to invest in these sets. Sorry it's gone on for such a long time. It was an awful lot to cover. I'll try and get some pictures up on my Facebook page of this guy with some other combiners. But until then, from myself and the rest of the Collectables household, thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.